Oscar Bevis, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast here in Telford with the man himself, Queensbury's Dev Sahni. How are you, mate?
I'm good. We've just done the weigh-in, did a live show with the Iceman himself, Jason Cunningham. Good fun. I think that's his first time doing a bit sort of punditry like that, so it's good to use him, and he was very good, and we had good fun.
Good. I just kind of want to do something about. I know we were joking yesterday saying the man behind the mic and whatever, but just to kind of get to know a bit about you and your journey in boxing, because I think when it comes to Fury White Week, there was just so much attention around it, and not you were thrusted in front of everyone, but because people were watching every single little clip that was out and your face was everywhere, you kind of got your stardom from that. So how is your newfound fame?
It's a funny way of putting it. No, Fury White Week was mad, as you say. There were a lot of clips with my face, mainly because Dillian Whyte called John Fury Steve Bunce. Yeah. I mean, that's almost immortalised me because I was part of that. But it's been good. If you're talking about my boxing story, I've just always been a boxing fan, mate. Always been a boxing fan, like we all have, and I proper got into it with Ricky Hatton against Mayweather. That's when I was proper drawn in, and then I was just like working in online marketing, boring jobs. I'm bored just thinking about it. I was selling train tickets for European rail companies. No disrespect, Rail Europe, you helped me get me, to where I am, but so boring. And I just sent my CV to Box Nation one day and said, look, please, if there's anything digital marketing related, anything like that, please. I didn't hear anything for like months and months, and then eventually someone got back to me and said, oh, we've got a digital manager job, and they asked me a few questions, made me jump through a few hoops, and I was successful. And since that, I've just sort of said yes to everything. And it's meant to be, I started off like sort of trying to improve the Box Nation website, and then I ended up sort of emceeing on BT Sport. It's mad because boxing's so like, it's quite niche and quite small, and there's not that many people that actually work in it and make a living from it. You get opportunities because they'll just be like, oh, this person's not here, do you mind just doing it? And I just tend to say yes. So it's it's been good fun. Again, no disrespect, Rail Europe. Again, you really did help. Voyage S and CF, they rebranded too. But I'm boring you, Oscar. Talk to me.
Well, I was going to say, since I've met you or since I've known you, the first thing was you just doing the interviews post-fight for Queensbury, because it would always be IFL second in line, which isn't the norm, but when Dev Sahni was about, it was second in line. So I knew you from that, and then there was the MCing and sort of running these after shows, after weigh-ins and press conferences, and now actually running press conferences as well. So like you said, they're just kind of, I don't know, what is your job title? You're just Dev Sahni now, aren't you?
I've actually taken the job title off of my email signature because I don't think it's like...
Does it not do you justice?
It's not so much that, it's just like the actual job title, right, that I got with Frank is head of media, but like the head of media at Matchroom, I think, is Dan Barnard, and he's doing a completely different job to what I'm doing. He's doing media stuff, as you'd expect. So yeah, I've just sort of taken it off. We've got a comms guy, Matt Rich, who you know, he's great. We had Darren Hanley before that. They deal with sort of the press side of things. I just do a bit of everything, mate. I just like, whatever they ask me, I'll do it. I like doing promo stuff, content stuff with the fighters, and this presenting stuff. It's all pretty good, and I'm just a kind of a Queensbury soldier, if you will, Oscar Bevis.
I will take that. Did you kind of learn on the job then? Because I know from looking back at the early stuff I've done with IFL, like I kind of cringe and think, oh, they're kind of crap. Like, I don't know how I ended up keeping my job. If you were working in what you were working in before with Rail Europe or whatever, there's no way you had like interview experience and like the way you sort of work a press conference. Did you just pick that skill up on the job?
I think so. I think also I just watch hours and hours and hours of boxing interviews. Obviously, you pick up the commentary. I'm just a fan, essentially, and you'd be surprised how much you sort of soak in without really knowing about it. And yeah, it felt natural to like host a presser. It felt natural to interview a fighter because I'm just asking them what I'm thinking. And I've seen other, like one of the goats for me is Max Kellerman. I just think he's great. I could watch him all day break down a fight and say everything with his chest and do interviews in the ring afterwards. Like he's great. I don't know. It's just sort of picked it up. I've always been comfortable like on stage, like in front of people, and that did a bit drama back in school, so I've never been sort of fazed by that element of it. But yeah, it's good fun. It's been fun sort of honing my skills in boxing, something I love. It's not really a job, to be honest, mate. I'm blagging it. I am blagging it.
Well, mate, you're talking to me, so you don't need to tell me about blagging it.
Blagger to blagger, yeah. Fist bump, yeah. Look, mate, life's a big blag. Just try and make the most of it.
I want to talk about the MCing, because obviously Queensbury and as we see on BT and whatnot, Thomas Tribe was kind of was the resident MC, and then did you step in? Was it during COVID? Because obviously he has to come over and stuff. Yeah.
So I locked him in his room, mate, so he couldn't do it. So no, there was look, I've done like little bits of MCing a couple of years ago on like one of Andy Ayling's shows on Box Nation. I didn't really think anything of it, because Thomas Triber came along and he'd tell me stories about how he used to sleep in his car and stuff like that and travel all up and down the US for shows. And I was like, well, look, I'm definitely not going to do that. Like, I don't care enough to be a good MC. So just please be a good MC, Thomas Triber.
You don't fancy sleeping in your boot outside York Hall, no?
Definitely not. But I feel as though he would. Maybe not so much now. He's doing well. I mean, yeah, he's doing very well. But he got COVID basically about a year ago, and they needed an MC. I think there's a few that they asked who were unavailable. They were doing other shows. They asked around the hotel. They asked the receptionist, could you ever go on it? They asked a couple of cleaners. They got asked. Eventually, they found their way to me, and I said yes. And it's probably the least nerve-wracking, to be honest. The MCing stuff, yeah, it's weird. Like the MCing stuff, I don't get nervous because I've got it all written in front of me, and the only point where you can really go wrong is if there's like a sort of a decision where it's like a majority or a split or something like that, and you can announce it incorrectly, where you give away the winner before you say who the winner is. And I always hate it when MCs do that, so I know not to do that. But that's the least nerve-wracking. It's good fun. I don't see myself as a future MC. I'm just doing some of the smaller shows. But yeah, it's all good for getting out there. As is talking to you, Oscar Bevis.
I was going to say, there was a couple, I think it was started by, and I'm going to give him a little shout, Boxing King Media, was it, who done the first one. And I remember seeing you interviewed, and I was like, really? Not in a bad way. I was like, you're interviewing someone who's kind of got the same job as you, like interviewer to interviewer. But then around that Fury fight week, like I said, your face was kind of plastered everywhere, and that was, I suppose so far, probably the pinnacle of the work you've done in boxing, because arguably one of the biggest fights over the last couple of decades in this country, and you're like front and centre.
Mate, look, I had a dream, essentially. I really, really, really wanted to use John Fury across the Queensbury channels and have the moment where the father gets to interview the son. The son is the world heavyweight champion, and they have a moment. And they had plenty of moments. And moreover, John Fury got to interview Dillian Whyte, the man who's trying to fill his son in the next night. And it's just about creating those little moments. So I really wanted that to happen, and it did. So yeah, I was very, very happy with that. Yeah, in terms of interviewing interviewers, look, mate, I'm just a boxing fan. I love it. Like, I stay up till all sorts of hours. Not as much as I used to, but I remember staying up back in the day for one Manuel Lopez fights, like finding a stream on my laptop. This was pre-Box Nation. So I'm just a big boxing fan, so I can talk to you all day about it.
We said you're a Queensbury soldier, so we'll take Queensbury out the equation. Who is your favourite fighter out at the moment? We'll take Queensbury out of the equation. Favourite fighter at the moment?
Okay, well, if you're taking Queensbury out,
no one. That's it.
I don't even watch it, mate. No, favourite fighter at the moment. Very good question. Obviously, look, Inoue is a madman. He is just banging everyone out. I said to Jason Cunningham earlier, do you fancy a bit of Inoue at some point? You know, he's sniffing around super bantamweight. He didn't look too sure. But Inoue's the man. He's very good. I like Beterbiev as well. Oh, it's just, I guess I just like monstrous punches.
I was going to say, is that what you look for in fighters? Are you a fan of someone who's just going to go in there and they're just going to dish it out?
Obviously, I like the slicksters as well. Mayweather's probably my favourite ever, because I've sort of grown up on him, or that generation. I didn't grow up watching Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard or guys like that. Mayweather's always been the man, so I love him, and he wasn't come forward, take your head off. Certainly not in the Money May era. But right now, yeah, when I think about it, and you've put me on the spot, I'm thinking Beterbiev. Because I'm going next week, by the way. I'm going to that fight. Yeah, I'm going with Anthony Yard's going along to it. Tunde's going, and I'm going with him. Little chaperone job. So it's going to be amazing seeing him, if he can knock out Joe Smith, which I do think he will. next week. So I look forward to that. I like him a lot. Canelo's always good. He's always entertaining in good fights. But yeah, now that you've put me on the spot, you took Queensbury out of it, so I couldn't say Tyson Fury. Yeah, let's go with the Inoue/Beterbiev.
Yeah, not bad choices at all. So you're the BT representative next week then with... the Queensbury representative with... And so you're a representative of the company as well. How long before you kind of give Frank the little nudge and it's just you and Francis bowling about doing the whole thing?
I don't know, mate. I'm just trying. I wouldn't have minded going to Miami this week, but I've got the Telford gig. We move. But I've ended up in New York next week with Anthony Yard. You just never know what's going to happen in this game. But it will be good seeing how Anthony watches the fight. How is he going to be analysing it, sort of thing? Because he's one of those fighters, right, that he always says, I don't watch my opponents. I focus on being the best Anthony Yard. He's going to be ringside to watch two of the best light heavyweights in the world. He can't be saying things like, I wasn't watching him. No, he would have just watched, in my opinion, Beterbiev probably knock out Joe Smith. And Beterbiev is an absolute monster. He's got this storied amateur pedigree. He's beaten Usyk. I know he's lost to Usyk as well, but he's beaten Usyk in the amateurs, beaten so many guys. So it'd be interesting to see what Anthony Yard makes of it. And again, look, Joe Smith might win, but it's all going to be good fun. And I'm the Queensbury rep. I'm just going to be, just being out there, doing my thing.
Love it. I do want to mention this weekend before I let you go. We'll start with Miami and Daniel Dubois and Trevor Bryant. I'm loving the Don King stuff from Umar, by the way. I mean, just that one interview alone. Just Don King's just mad, isn't he? He's kind of like, trying to think of the word. It's something that you kind of, it's going to sound stupid. I don't feel like he's real in a way.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's certainly a larger-than-life character. I watched the press conference. Goodness me, so many topics were covered.
Put in the world to rights, mate. Forget the boxing. Yeah.
Mate, it feels like he's been sort of saving up everything he's wanted to say for the last 10 years, and he got it all out. I believe that was almost like a 90-minute press conference. Don King said his piece. The Umar interview was good fun as well. I haven't watched the Steve Bunce one yet. I'm going to watch that. In terms of the fight itself, I mean, there's nothing to suggest that Trevor Bryan can beat Daniel Dubois, right? You just never know in heavyweight boxing. Everyone's just saying Dubois is going to bang him out, he's going to walk right through him. And if it's the Daniel Dubois that we know and love, and if Trevor Bryan isn't any good, then Daniel Dubois will do just that. But it's heavyweight boxing, and you just never know. This guy's so confident, Trevor Bryan. I did an interview with him as well over Zoom, and he's like, there's no doubt, no shred of doubt coming across in his interview. He's very sure that he thinks he can make Daniel Dubois quit. That's what he said to me. He thinks that once he takes Daniel Dubois into deep waters, Daniel Dubois won't fancy it anymore. But having said that, Daniel's been very chilled this week. Everything that I've heard, everything that I've seen out there, and a chilled Daniel Dubois is a very dangerous one. He's a dangerous fella, and I do expect him to knock Trevor Bryan out 3-4 rounds.
And then I suppose move on towards, push even closer towards world titles. They will be tied up with Joshua and Usyk and the rematch and whatnot, and we don't really ever know what Tyson's going to do. Can't really believe a word he says, because he's just that guy who can flick on a switch. You wouldn't surprise me if there was a fight announcer next week, to be honest.
I think he's out in Miami, by the way. I'm pretty sure if you've been checking his story, I think he's going out to watch Daniel Dubois crown the new heavyweight champion, hey? But yeah, that's good fun. It's interesting that Tyson's gone out there for that. This will give Daniel Dubois the WBA World Heavyweight Championship. I think they've dropped calling it the regular. It gives him the same belt that Lee Wood has at featherweight. It gives him the same belt that Gervonta Davis has at lightweight. And there will be people scoffing at it, saying you're not a real world heavyweight champion. I think he will be referred to as a world heavyweight champion moving forward. Obviously, it gives him a seat at the table. There is Usyk. It's a piece of the puzzle, right? And it might lure fighters like maybe like a Dillian White or someone like, or Joe Parker or someone like that, who might also think that they can beat Daniel Dubois and get a seat at the table, and therefore have negotiating power in a fight with an Usyk or a Joshua or a Fury or something like that. But yeah, it's an important belt to win. It's a piece of the puzzle, and it puts him in line for a shot at the winner of AJ against Usyk. It's just about how quickly they call that fight, the WBA. And exciting times for Daniel Dubois.
And just a quick one on the British title doubleheader in Telford. I can't even think about picking how Mark Leach and Liam Davis goes, because they're just like kind of polar opposite fighters. Liam's going to want to go to work and Mark's going to want to box. So,
well, I mean, Oscar, you've interviewed me and I've just caught the eye of Robert Warren. Do you want to come in?
Go on.
Can you big me up or something? Just
I love this man. Look, I have to look after him. I'll make sure you get back to prison okay.
Robert Warren, ladies and gentlemen, legend of the game. He's always fun to have around. Oh, he said thank you as well. Always good to have around in fight weeks. What was the question you asked me about the British title doubleheader? Now, I can't pick a winner in either fight. And yes, there are splinters up my arse because of that. I understand that, Oscar. But I actually can't, because for me, they are two 50-50 fights. We know Kademi against Ahmed is a 50-50 because they've had two very close fights, including a draw. Kademi thinks he won both, Ahmed thinks he won both, and they will both think they can win tomorrow night. I mean, I want it put to bed now. I just want a conclusive winner, and I want the winner to move on to fight Prince Patel or whoever. But that'll be good fun. And Leach and Davis. I can't pick a winner. I won't pick a winner. But what I will say is that the winner is in one hell of a division. I was talking about this the other day. Super bantamweights in this country, it's unreal right now. I don't think we've ever had it this good. I'm going for it. I'm thinking Liam Davis against Andrew Kane. That was meant to happen, right? Andrew Kane keeps knocking people out in the first round. Mark Leach is British champion. He beat Chris Bourke. Chris Bourke will come again. Brad Foster, he'll come again. He lost to Baluta. Baluta's in a good fight with everyone. And then top of the tree, you've got Jason Cunningham. How about that? He's fighting Tete. July 2nd, he's fighting Tete. Do you remember Tete? Knocked out Paul Butler. He's fighting him.
I said to him, I was like, the amount of raised eyebrows when people heard you were fighting Tete.
Yeah, look, we don't know what Tete's got left. We don't know what he's got left. And on the live, Queensbury live feed that we just did, which I'm sure you'll all be tuning into, he gave a very fierce message down the camera for Sahni Tete, promising to fill him in. I mean that's nice, isn't it? What more can you hope for? But yeah, Super Bantamweight's buzzing. I'm buzzing. Saturday night, BT Sport. I've been saying in the presses, mate, you don't need the remote. What do you need the remote for, Oscar? What do you need it for?
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.